nothing very rarely ever requires an immediate response to something. And I think that has been something that I've had to learn through therapy, that if someone says something to me and I don't like it, it's okay for you to sit with it. Mm-hmm. It's okay for you to sit with it for a moment to try to reach a level of understanding of where that person is coming from and why they might have felt that way, and try to look at their perspective instead of seeing your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. And it's taken me a while, in my life, because I think that my mind functions. I mean, Julie and I, we've made it very clear, we do therapy and we have counseling, and we have a great Christian counselor. And, he said that how was it he said about compartmentalizing? My ability to compartmentalize.
Yeah, you have a gift of being able to compartmentalize things.
That my ability to compartmentalize was stronger than anyone that they've ever counseled. And I was so proud of that.
It's exhausting.
I was so proud that, I've got someone that recognizes with this level of education how brilliant I am, that I can compartmentalize that much.
That's a trauma response.
I literally say that. Wait until you see my first podcast episode. I say the exact same thing. It's like, I pride myself on the fact that I could be bawling my eyes out in that room, and 2 minutes later, I walk out,
the camera,
look like $1 million. No one would ever even know. But when in reality, that's nothing to be proud of. It's actually sad that you're at a place in your life to
where it's so comfortable that for you to transition from one to the other so quickly.
Yeah.
But it took me until the next session when I said, but even you acknowledge that I'm great at compartmentalizing. But Todd, I didn't mean that as a compliment. You took that as a compliment. What I was trying to get you to understand is that the reason you can compartmentalize so much is because you're dealing with so little. You're truly not dealing with everything at the time that it needs to be dealt with. You're putting everything in nice, neat boxes, putting them up on the shelf. And when you get to a place where you feel comfortable enough, I'll pull that one out and I might look in there and start trying to deal with this one. No, it wasn't meant as a compliment. And so I think for me is that at where I am at my life right now, that obviously I'm thrilled that you're back with your family, because I believe that family is first, that blood is blood no matter what. And we can argue, we don't have to agree about everything, but what we do have to do is have mutual respect for each other. We have to respect that each other has the right to feel the way they feel. And for a long time, I think that I felt like that my way of feeling was the only way of feeling.
Yeah. I do want to say that about the compartmentalizing, I think that was also a big part of conflict with me working on the show as well, because my personality is not one to do that. If something is wrong, I'm going to wear that on my sleeve and you're going to know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for me to be able to show up in the way that some of you were able to show up to Chrisley Knows Best and say, yeah, I'm having a real shit time,
but I still have a job to do.
I still have a job to do. And I viewed that as, yes, there's cameras here, but it's still family and this is still what's going on. Mm-hmm. I couldn't separate those two things to effectively do what I needed to do on Chrisley Knows Best.
But you also would not have been able to have said what you just said without going through what you've been going without going through what we've gone through.
And that's also the hard part too, is because like Lindsie said, ask anyone. Anyone's going to say that I'm your favorite. That's not true. It's just there are ways that we connect emotionally and psychologically that are just odd.
I feel like that it's God, but it's also like that twin syndrome.
It really is.
Oh my God.
It really is.
I'll be like, is Dad okay? What's wrong?
And how many times have I said to you, something's not right with Savannah?
Yeah.
And then I get on the phone and then you break down, you start telling me what's going on, and She said, and you've said, how did you know? And I said, I felt it in my spirit.
But it's also even whenever you and I went through that time of not speaking, it was like 6 months that we went and we did not speak, but we would show up and we would film and no one ever knew.
When the cameras went off?
When the cameras went
She
off.
went her way, I went mine.
But like during breaks, during anything, we didn't speak. We didn't, like it was cold. But on camera, you would never know. But that's because we both had the ability to compartmentalize and cut it off and then feel it at a later time.
Right.
That's exactly right. And I think that it's...
Which looking at it, it's like, that's some real
that's
twisted.
some psycho stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it really
twisted.
is.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really is a twisted thing. And not to say that I'm perfect. I feel like I've come a very, very long way from where I was in 2017. But to be able to compartmentalize in that way and to know that you're all family, they're working together and there's stuff going on, like I'm not running a fakery bakery. So I'm not going to show up and chum it up with y'all and eat sandwiches and act like we just didn't have a knockdown drag out.
It's true. And people have asked me, you
But
know,
I came from that.
yeah, people have asked me, you know, like, what's the hardest part about filming a TV show like that? And I said, imagine going to work every day with your husband, with your adult children, with your minor children,
Your
with
mother-in-law.
your mother-in-law, and your parents on occasion. Imagine going and working every single day with all those people.
But I can honestly...
you know, because Todd and I have had arguments before in the morning, you know, whatever it might be. And then we had to walk out of our bedroom and
Let's party.
have smiles on our faces, like nothing, like I loved him. And really, I could have stabbed him with the fork that I was cooking with.
You know, trying to work with you guys and to be able to see, okay, Savannah seemingly like can be pissed off at everybody literally in this room and hates us all, but she's showing up and chumming it up with us. And then Dad's acting like he didn't just cuss somebody out like before he came out here. And she's making cookies in the kitchen, but burnt the batch before. And it's like, what is going on? I can't
Your
think
mind
that
was... You're not programmed that way.
I'm not programmed that way. I'm like, no, we literally just got in an argument. So I am effectively pissed off at you for the next 72 hours.
Yeah, like no.
She even has a timeline.
Like this,
that she's going to do.
this scene's canceled. In my mind, it's canceled. And if it's not, then you're getting what you get when I show up. And so I think it's funny, you know, when I watch other shows, I'll go ahead and reference a competitor, the Kardashians. I feel like I'm Courtney. Like I'm probably...
You absolutely are Courtney. And I used to think that Savannah was Kim, but now I think Savannah's Chloe. I think
agree.
Savannah's transitioned into Chloe because I think she's had so much disappointment and she's dealt with so much pain. Not to say that Kim hasn't. And you know, we love them. You know, they have paved the way for us to be where we're sitting today. So you know, I give them that credit for that. But those girls are very hard workers, but they've also gone through a lot of heartache. Yeah. And you know, to whom much is given, much is required. But you know, Courtney is absolutely you.
She's said to be the hardest to work with on the show. And I will say, I was the hardest cast member of Chrisley Knows Best to work with.
I'd love to tell you that I disagreed, but I won't.
Because if you think that I am boarding a flight when you just jacked me around for 7 days and told me that I was doing a whole different thing and my bag's already packed and now I need other clothes, no. Like that's effectively not what I am doing.
And we sit here and laugh about because we know we're changing 7 times a day.
And I'm like, no. Like, why didn't you think of that 6 days ago, actually?
Right.
And also get that the first time I was dressed that way.
And you would be thinking that production is going to think that far ahead in advance.
Yeah.
Because I think that far in advance.
Right.
But you do. But you need to understand something. Your way of doing things is not the vast majority of the world doing it that way.
I know.
And so so I can understand why when you literally, because you and Kyle have been that way your whole life, about if we
Like
told you
schedule.
we're leaving at 6 o'clock, You was already getting in the car, putting a seatbelt on the back seat at 5:45.
Like I am on
and the
time.
car needs to be rolling out at 6 o'clock.
I'm on time. I'm ready for the occasion. Yes. I look the part, all the things. Don't mess with me.
And see, for us, we're like, you can throw anything at us and we're going to bounce back from it. We're going to, we can handle many different balls in the air.
It's because that comes from so much disappointment. You go from one extreme to the other. You either want to control it all, or you're just like, I'm not going to have all these I'm not going to have all these expectations, because expectations lead to disappointment. And at the end of the day, it's going to happen how it's going to happen. So why am I going to let it absolutely destroy my entire day? Like, go with the flow.
Well, I think that, Chrisley Knows Best has been a wonderful, wonderful blessing to us in so many ways. And in others, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Because we do live in a fishbowl. And I look forward to the shows that we're creating in the future that will allow us to be exactly who we are, let you see exactly who we are, let you in on that, and let you go on that authentic journey with us.
Like, I would thrive much more in that situation. Like,
well, yeah, because with Chrisley Knows Best, like we've touched on before, yes, it's reality, but there's only so much reality. We would say things that they didn't want us saying, and then they would try to get us to say something different. And there were things.
And we would fight over the authenticity.
We fought so hard.
And it's like with Growing Up Chrisley right now, with the
I told Dad not to watch it.
With the, what is it, the narrator?
Yes.
The narrator. Okay, folks, if you're listening, Growing Up Chrisley will not have a narrator. I didn't approve that. That was dropped in there. It's clearly not been a fan favorite.
It's been terrible.
Because all of you have voiced that concern that you love the show, but you hate the narrator.
What if I narrated it from my perspective?
Nobody wants the narrator.
I mean, y'all, Dad, did you see my bartending clip?
Savannah, I saw that one with that trashy shirt on that you had on, which I thought was just repulsive.
Well, it was. Look at that. I did so good.
And folks, for those of you who have never tuned in to Chrisley Knows Best or a episode of The Life of Savannah, then you should know that Savannah has never had a bad photo moment. She's never missed an opportunity to talk about herself and self-promote, and which is what we just did just now.
100%. You got to learn to plug.